it's a good app or whatever is because,
The more buttons you need to
The more
push.
buttons you need to push. I like it. We go live and Frederic freezes immediately. At least
Oh
he
no.
looks.
course.
Oh, all right. Back? Is he only frozen for me?
I mean, I'm not frozen for me.
Right.
You
You're
know,
like, in my world, I'm not frozen for me at all. So fuck you, man.
no.
Well, good
I'm like, what's the
morning,
name? I'm like,
everyone, and welcome to the Daily Whatever Chaos
It's going
Show.
to be a bit of chaos today. Do you feel it?
I feel
I
it.
do.
You know,
I mean, why should this day be different than any other day?
Aha.
Uh-huh.
Aha.
Jewish reference, except today is different from every other day because today we have Frederic Poag on our show.
We
So good to
do.
see you, old friend. How are you?
I've been good. I spent the weekend in Orlando going to the Central Florida Film Festival.
Ooh.
Ooh,
I kind of escaped some of the weather that happened in Denver, and then
yeah.
got
Brother,
back
there
just in
weather
time.
happened everywhere. This
It did, yeah. My buddy was trying to get back to Philly, and my other friend was telling me that he lives in Northern Virginia. They got 5 inches of sleet that turned to ice.
Oh, cool.
I've never seen that. 5 inches.
Damn.
I mean, I've seen sleet
Yeah.
cover Northern Virginia when I worked at DCA, where it's just like, and it just turns into ice, like a thin layer of ice, and it's just dangerous. But
Oh.
5 inches?
Yeah. I mean,
Like
I've
five.
seen
Usually, I
five
don't
inches
get that.
before.
Yeah, me too. You don't usually get that fired up about 5 inches, but when it's snow, you do.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Dana. If you get 5 inches, you got to make it work. Like I mean, it is what it is. So
Yeah. You
Yes.
know,
Something about boat, motion, ocean.
right. There's nothing wrong with 5 inches, but when it's sleet, that is
Yeah.
miserable.
When it's 5 inches
that
of
is.
ice, that is an entirely. I mean, that's like an ice skating rink. You could play hockey on that shit.
Are
I
we
mean,
going
if
to
it's
move on to ice jokes now? Well,
well, yeah. Oh God.
I mean, I was going heated rivalry, but then yeah, we could also go ice.
oh, I haven't watched Heated Rivalry, but I've heard all
Mm,
about it on Savage Love and how
mm.
hot it is.
What? Yeah. I'm like those are two things I'm like not familiar with. Like
Do you want to tell Frederick about Heated Rivalry,
So
Lawrence?
it's a show on HBO, and it's
Oh,
hockey players who absolutely hate each other. Secret
oh.
twist: they're gay lovers. Like they hate each other.
Ooh.
They're on rival teams, but every time they play each other, they end up hooking up.
And to
And
play each other.
uh, yeah, it's
What will Hollywood think of next?
right. I
It's
don't
a
know, Mr. Hollywood. You
huge.
tell us. You're showbiz.
Well, I mean, I'm shocked. It's like, two people that can't
Shocked that
stand.
there's queerness in this television show.
No, not that. It's like I'm shocked they're still using that old trope, but just putting a gay dressing on it.
Yeah,
Two rivals that hate each other but secretly are hooking up. That's such an original format for a
yeah.
story.
It is when they're hot gay hockey players. That's never been done
And
before.
now we know the audience.
Right?
Yeah. It's like strangely, the gay dude and a bunch of straight women are really into this show.
Right?
Like I said, I haven't
I
seen
don't
it.
understand it.
I have
What
heard
that
all about it and that it's hot, that it's really good. So
well, that's the thing. I mean, guys have had, what is it, the lesbian fantasy for a long time. I think it's fine for straight women to, have the two gay dude fantasy. That's not like their fantasy though, right?
no.
No,
Like
actually, there's a ton of straight women who vibe on dudes hitting it
I
with
think,
each other.
yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
there
if you
you
get to
go.
see two super beautiful men in various states of undress, it's going to have an appeal.
I will say that as a queer person who,
Yeah.
blah, blah, grew up Generation X, didn't see myself in the media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, boring, boring, boring. It
No,
was kind of revolutionary to see a show that had authentically portrayed sex scenes between gay men
yeah.
and
That's what Dan
sorry,
Savage talked
between
about.
men who have sex with men. One of them doesn't identify as gay, blah blah blah. uh but to actually see it on, like, in the same way that any straight person is used to seeing kind of softcore porn, right? In terms of sex scenes in movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be a gay person and to like finally at the age of 55 see a popular show that I'm just like, oh, wow, they're being really honest about this part of hooking up. Um, it was kind of amazing. Like it literally moved me to tears several times. Like the story is great and the acting is great. And the chemistry between the two leads is just absolutely off the charts. But like just seeing the authenticity, I was like, wow, this really does hit different, being able
Yeah.
to see yourself in mainstream media.
Yeah.
Dan Savage that's like you and Dan had the same exact take on it of it's actually representative because there is a lot of it's almost like queer baiting, like there's a lot of gay characters in shows and couples, but they're either comic relief
Right.
or they're I don't know if you watched Heartstopper. I did because I have teenage daughters.
Yeah, I did.
But it's two teenage boys and it takes until what, like season 3 till they actually have sex and you're like, okay guys.
Right. Come on, they're teenage boys. They would have been boning on day 2. Like
Yeah. It's very and even the sex they're having is like,
right.
I mean, it's a show for teens, to be clear. So
yeah.
it does make sense, but it's also not right, not realistic. So that was Dan Savage's comparison, and so I was very intrigued by the show. I'm glad you agree, Lawrence, because if you and Dan both say it's authentic, I'm just going to go with that's the definitive answer.
Well, and also I will say, if you remotely like hockey, it's fucking fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
like
sorry, not her.
because
It's
you end up
heated
sort of,
rivalry,
at
Karen.
least I did. It's set a bit in the past and kind of catching up to the present moment. And so, the whole time I was like, wait, who actually played in that game? Like who won that? Who won the Winter Olympics in Sochi? And so, there's a lot of just like the actual fun of the sport in it as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We jumped right in because it's Frederic.
Because I was late, because Ellie Leonard has an amazing article out on Blue Amp, you guys. I just pushed it live literally 1 minute before starting the show. So go check that out.
Ellie Leonard never fails.
No.
Stuff is always amazing.
No.
But Frederic, why don't you say hi and introduce yourself before we like...
Right. I doubt there's anyone here who doesn't know you, but just in case, tell them who you are, Uncle Fred.
So my name's Frederic Poag, obviously, as the banner suggests. I have a Substack called Missives from Middle-Aged Man, and I also do some stuff on YouTube. I was getting a TikTok going, but that's seems to be done.
Yeah.
I did a sort of a final, I'm waiting a final TikTok where I told Larry Ellison to go F himself multiple times, called him fascist. I'm waiting to see if I get like actually banned from it so they can save me the trouble.
Or shadow banned. Can you catch everyone up just in case someone doesn't know?
What's going on with the TikToks?
Yeah, what's going on with TikTok and like Oracle and Ellison and blah blah blah.
Larry Ellison and the Ellison family are determined to become. They're vying for the title of America and the world's most evil billionaire. It was Jeff Bezos, then Elon Musk got it, but now the Ellison family and Larry Ellison seem to be like they want to do it. So their Lex Luthor sort of style plot is they just want to control media. They bought CBS and installed Barry Weiss or whatever her name
Barry
is.
Weiss. Yeah.
Barry Weiss, yeah. And her, like I think she was in a recent interview where she said she wants CBS to be more balanced. Basically, she wants to create another Fox News. And they're gonna and I love this phrase. It's so awesome, and you'll appreciate this, Lawrence. We're gonna run it like a startup.
Oh God.
I don't know how you run
there
like an institution that's been here for over a century, like a startup. But okay, it reminds me of Jackass Jared Kushner when he basically said the same thing about the pandemic response. That so basically it's just we're gonna break stuff kind of like Trump in the East Wing. We're just gonna tear it down and then have no plan and then rip off the money for it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. We're gonna
And just
potentially
leave a
throw
hole.
a lot of bad money after bad money, and
right,
you know, never actually produce anything of value.
right,
Yeah, that's
and
awesome. It's a shame there are so many contenders for the world's most evil billionaire. You know, like
mhm.
Right?
there's so many of them, and all of them seem to be intent on competing for the prize.
Well, and
This-
they basically want to. So the big problem that's come down now is it's sort of, outright censorship on the platform, where they've apparently squelched the traffic of anybody doing videos for like that are related to Epstein or Alex Breedy or
Oh,
ICE or Trump, so people like, and you had way bigger creators than me, some were like a million plus. Suddenly their traffic just, where they, these people, like they've been on there for a while, they have like they sort of know their traffic,
yeah.
and it dropped to almost nothing,
Oh God.
and so it's uh and I mean, you can look at what sort of the delusion that's going on. It's the same thing in CBS where Barry Weiss is talking about, oh, we're gonna grow. It's like you lost 30% of your viewership overnight,
Right.
and it's trending down. I don't, and your credibility is shot. So I don't see how, there's only so many bots and right-wing MAGA out there in the world,
Right.
to split them amongst everything in right-wing manosphere, or I'm sorry, information sphere.
Yeah.
I don't see it,
And you know, for example, with CBS, the new anchor of CBS Evening News, right, Tony DeCapoli, or whatever, however you say his last name, Katie Tur's husband, by the way,
Whose
apparently
husband?
he
Sorry.
tanked ratings so badly that they've lost a third of their viewership in the first week that he was on the air.
Wow.
Like he's fucked it up so badly and is doing such a poor job that he's alien, and that's legacy media, right? I'm not sure how you get that audience back, right? Like
Right. It's not a growing channel.
if you are legacy media, you should be doing everything in your power to keep your existing audience and expand, not doing things that are going to shear away 30% of your already existing audience. That's insanity.
Is whose husband was he, Lawrence?
Katie Tur, who's the 3 p.m. anchor on MSNBC. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Now.
It's now.
Yeah, Ms. Now, 3 p.m. Katie Tur is on. I've always been kind of
Really?
sus on Katie Tur. Like I back in the day, I really liked her, and I feel like she has taken a distinct rightward turn. And I think at Ms. Now, they're kind of like, yeah, that okay, yeah, let's see if that works.
Right. We just need both sides.
We're
Both
so
sides.
neutral. Just
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
Listen, when it crashes down, and it's like, girl, I got a sectional couch. Come on over. Like we'll read.
Fred's always thinking of comforting the ladies after they experience trauma.
Come on now, come on over. I got some Kerouac. I'll feed you some fried taters, and we'll just we'll do some edibles. We'll be all right, baby. We'll make it happen.
All right, big dog.
Yeah, we'll slide into. It's like she's like, "What's that?" It's called Lenin and the State and Revolution. It's like, ooh, like
I got to admit, I always sort of had like a secret, like fanfic ship thing going on for Katie Tur and Nicole Wallace. I was sort of hoping that they'd come out as like, fierce lesbian moms who discovered their forbidden love late in life.
I would watch. Oh my God! Stop pitching. I would watch that show.
That's a hidden rivalry.
I would.
Right? You're like sold. See, this is how it happens, Frederic.
Yeah,
right.
I would watch that show. Like,
right, right. Secretly, they're It's heated rivalry part 2. Secretly, they're competing against each other to see who's got the number 1 show, but really, they're in love and they're co-parenting their 5 kids.
Right. I would watch that show if there's a lot of comedy, and especially if their neighbors were the gay hockey dudes, right? Like that would be.
Oh my God!
I would watch the hell out of that show. Where it was just Dan and Daniel, like that lived next door.
Like, yeah. No, that would be classic. In heated rivalry, it's oh fuck, I can't. Ilya, because one of the guys is Russian.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Oh, yeah.
So
But
TikTok, them, Frederic,
no, yeah,
I'm
well, yeah,
relieved to hear
and-
you say that, because I time and time again keep being like, if you really want to be a creator online, you've gotta get a TikTok account, Dana. And I've fought it just because of the invasiveness of their software and blah blah blah. And then every time I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I need to go join the modern era and be on TikTok. Some shit like this happens, and I'm like, nope. But I did see that Melissa Corrigan posted this morning and said, I think the phrase she used was, we're being tea kettled, liberal creators. We're
yep.
Yeah.
all here on Substack and YouTube now. And when we are consolidated and feel when we flee other channels because we feel unwelcome or we're being throttled, and we're all in just one or two places, it becomes very easy to hit the off button. What do you think about that? Are we obligated to stay in spaces that are hostile?
I think it's kettled, not tea kettle. I mean, I'm going to be that guy and say,
It's okay.
but because it's about kettling fish, right? Like you
Right, yeah.
turn fish into a kettle.
Sorry, in the morning I have kind of a one-track mind about the
yeah,
tea.
tea kettle. I mean, I don't think we're obligated to stay in a space where we're being actively demonetized, and it's like
No.
time is precious, right? Like,
Right.
if I am not going to get any return from building up a TikTok audience, then don't waste my time, and don't. I mean, that's a form of censorship, right? In the sense that if I only have limited hours in the day and I could build up an audience on Substack or my own website or on YouTube, or I could waste my time trying to build an audience on TikTok when I'm actively being throttled, then like, fuck you. I'm not going to spend any time on TikTok. It's not my obligation to be the last man standing on TikTok.
I think what's kind of, fascinating about this moment is where the tech bros have shifted over the last decade, where it used to be like, the internet needs, like, more libertarian. It needs to be whatever you want to say, and room for all voices, yada yada yada. And now they've all gone to fascism, and they're in this sort of delusion of AI is going to be the saving grace that saves everything. And
right.
I think they're trying to kettle us, but part of them, I think, is convincing themselves that cable news still matters, and even though we reference it and we talk about it, what I find interesting is sort of like, my audience is baby boomers, and you're getting more, like, baby boomers are getting more tech savvy, I think, because a lot of them have retired and a lot of them have time to kind of, and also tech has become much easier to use, right? So the bar to kind of get into it is not as hard as it used to be. And I find, like, so they're going to keep pushing these liberal creators off, but people are just going to leave, because at some point you're just going to have bots talking to bots on X and TikTok, and you'll have these stupid videos that, like, it'll turn into kind of like a version of World Star. Parkrose Permaculture was really big in the TikTok space, and she's thinking about leaving. And she's on YouTube, right, where she's been there. She's like a creator that blew up in the last year, and is really one of the things she mentioned was that TikTok had like this community aspect to it, right, where people would talk to each other in the comments, and you would get this sort of interaction. That's going to be lost, right? Those are the things that, like, I mean, you think about it, like, even this show, or what we talk about, like how we know each other, the community we sort of have here on Substack. That's how TikTok used to be. It's not going to be like that anymore. And anything that the billionaires and the tech pros touch, that goes away. And people eventually try to find it. That's the whole nature of parasocial relationships.
Right.
So at some point, when the bottom drops, when it's like someone goes, hey, this is a bunch of bots talking to other bots, and we shouldn't really invest in this. And it just, it's going to be fascinating, because you're going to have, like, all of us liberals going over here and like, hey, you want to keep making money, don't screw with it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's over here now.
It's a great point, Frederic, and kind of I think, to Melissa's bigger point of, we're being kettled into certain spaces. think about it, right? Like if we're only on Substack and YouTube,
Mhm.
and we already know that Google owns YouTube, Google has made, genuflections and accommodations to the Trump administration already.
Yeah.
Substack now has this massive investment from Andreessen Horowitz, which, are tech bro, libertarian, techno feudal dork bots. Like,
Mhm.
do we think if it
Techno-feudal
comes down
dork
to it
bots.
in like a moment of crisis, that those two companies aren't going to bow down to Trump and be like, you know what, we're going to take the hit, but yeah, we'll shut down our network for a couple of days, right? Like, oh, oops, YouTube is offline due to an unexpected problem for the next week.
Right.
Or, Substack, suddenly we lost, 1 million users' data, including all of their posts and comments. Do we really think if Trump feels like we have been accused of suffering from a lack of imagination up to this
Mhm.
point, right? And we all know it because we all heard the people who are like, "Oh, he's not going to run. Oh, he's not going to win. Oh, he would never foment an insurrection. Oh, he's going to be held accountable. Oh, he wouldn't run again. Oh, they
Right.
won't let him. Oh, he's going to be barred from the ballot. Oh, he can't win again." All of that has been wrong. We have
Right.
we have all collectively suffered from a massive failure of imagination, and those of us who had the imagination for it were told that we were stupid and that we should shut up and that we were crazy. We cannot anymore think of anything as being off the table. If
Right.
Trump felt like he was going to lose control of his hegemony, of his power, would he not shut down YouTube and Substack in a fucking instant? Of
Oh yeah.
course he would.
Yeah.
Even if it crashed the fucking economy, even if it ruined those two companies, of course he would do it. Like, it's a real thing that Melissa's pointing out that we should pay attention to. And I don't know
Mhm.
what the answer is other than, we build our shit here and we come up with offline solutions to figure out how to, I don't know, Pony Express and Underground Railroad each other, when the fucking nightmare happens more
I
than it
think
is.
like I think this is where it's potentially where that's going to go is it's having contact with organizations like community organizations like say No Kings or people you've worked with or protested with like um because you bring up an interesting point because the thing is there is no bottom to the depravity of who Trump is and the lengths he's willing to go, right? Stephen Miller or whoever's directing it, these people are just awful people and they're in this delusional bubble. The interesting thing about that is reality has a limit on what you can physically accomplish, right? I remember, when I started, this is decades ago when I first started working out, and it's like, oh, I'm making these, gains in the gym and blah 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 blah. It's like, and if I could just keep doing that, and somebody was like, yeah, but eventually you hit a you start the gains become less and less and less and less and less because otherwise you could just eventually be like Captain America and bench the entire gym or whatever, you're Incredible
Right,
Hulk.
right.
And so we've seen Trump constantly violate these norms. But what's fascinating about this shift is that people are getting to the point where we're tired and we've had enough of the, you know, well, let's be civil. Well, let's try to work together. Well, let's try to, no, we're done with that. I was one of the women on the I've Had It podcast. She put out a video note that said, if you're not trying to take away funding from ICE and dismantle it, then get out of the Democratic Party. Right. There's lines being drawn where it's,
Right.
and so I think that as this fascism doubles down more and more and more, because that's all they can do, you know. You've got what Tom Homan going to Minnesota, and they're absolutely not compromising, right?
Right.
And that's why when Mayor Jacob Frey put out, oh, I had a productive conversation with Trump. It's like, guys, you got to stop that language. You don't have productive conversation. You don't flatter the guy.
Right.
Not here. You tell him like, yeah, I had a conversation with him and I told him ICE needs to get out of my city, and that's how you need to talk about it, because we're not interested in funding DHS for training. We're not interested. I mean, there's more and more reports coming out that there's people dying in the ICE camps, you know.
Yeah.
And like the Judicial Committee, I reposted this. The Senate Judiciary Committee posted, here's this 5-year-old girl. She had sickle cell and congenital heart condition. She died without getting the proper medicine, and the final line is like, that's why we need immigration detention reform. No, dude, you don't reform fascism. You just eliminate it.
Right.
And,
and for anyone saying that, like, but we do need people on the border. Sure.
Sure.
But we don't need them in their current configuration. Like we know from Jen Budd and others that CBP is corrupt and trained in fascistic and basically like torture tactics and cover-ups. Do we need a border patrol? Absolutely. Do we need this border patrol? Fuck no. All those people need to be prosecuted. They can't do their job if they're in jail because they've committed fucking crimes, which they clearly have.
Right.
And
I
think,
Dana, we've been the men folk have been dominating the conversation. What do you think, oh fiery redheaded friend of mine?
What do I think of ICE and the Democratic Party? And
I mean, just any of this.
Leadership.
The level of fuckedness we're currently experiencing in this country.
I think it's nice to see the change in language that I've been seeing around this from some. I'm not sure I agree about Jacob Frey. I think he's doing an incredible job of being, I feel like he's being like the bad cop to Walsh's good cop, or at least he's being more aggressive. And if Zoran Mamdani is any indication, saying I had a good conversation with Trump and sort of conceding that one point so that he backs off may actually be a working strategy if he gets what he wants out of it. And it seems like they are retreating from Minneapolis. So perhaps
they're not, though. They're not. They just no. In fact, they came out today and said they're not leaving, like Heather Cox Richson wrote about that today. They're not leaving. And that's the thing with Trump, right? Is because and what was it? Even Ron Johnson today. So Ilhan Omar, I always mispronounce her name. So she was at a town hall and some nut job shot her with water. And what did Ron Johnson say? He's like, oh yeah, that's crazy, but if it had been a Republican or Democrat did that, they just let the illegal alien go. And then Trump just yesterday insulted Somali and said, oh well, they're going to get those illegal aliens are going to get what drug dealers get. Boom, boom, boom. So they're not backing down, and they're not going to back down. And the thing is, Tim Walz could have called out the National Guard, and I put that out there, and everyone said, oh well, no, that's going to ratchet it up. That's going to increase the aggression. And now Alex Preedy's dead. You call it the National Guard, and what I said at the time was, you don't meet them in the streets with rifles. You put reflector vests on them, and you make them like UN observers. What'd they do? They put reflector vests on them and handing out coffee and cocoa. Yep. And now it's calmed down, and the reason is because ICE detaining a National Guardsman in uniform is a whole different level of messed up optics for the administration they don't want to touch. And so you cannot meet this moment with treating Trump and the other Republicans like they're your colleagues. They're fascists. You need to treat them like fascists. You need to say that's what they are. You need to, but that's the thing is Democrats have not done that in so long because their party is currently in the hands of corporatist leadership. And until that changes with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, you'll get the strongly worded statements every once in a while. But when it comes to the votes, well, we can't shut the government down, guys, because, we're powerless. We're powerless, guys. We're powerless.
Come on, Frederick. That's not fair. With Hakeem, at least it's going to be in rhyme. Okay?
There's at least going to be a poem.
Right. You got to give the man credit where it's due.
I agree to your point, Dana. It's like, on Jacob Frey's been doing great. Like he's doing
He's
what he can
feisty
as
as
a
fuck.
mayor of a mid-tier city. You know, the problem I have is like the people higher than him aren't getting his back to where he can say, get ICE out of my city.
Yeah, get the fuck out
Because
of here.
again, Republicans would have done that, right?
Yeah.
Republicans, had it been a Republican mayor, and I mean, my God, if they had sent FEMA in after a disaster, they'd have been like, these fascists, blah, 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 need to get out of here. And all the Republicans would have piled on and backed them up. But Democrats don't do that for whatever reason, because they want to be.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I really liked Tim Walz when he was the VP candidate, and until all of this went down, I think he's done a fabulous job as governor, and everyone I know from Minnesota loves him. I don't know that. What do you actually? I don't want to lead the question. What do you think of his leadership over the last week or two as all of this has gone down in Minneapolis?
Lackluster, but that's not his fault, because the thing is, like, there comes a point where the ground shifts, right? You see this in warfare. You see this in any time you have something really tumultuous like this, or the stakes are really intense.
Mhm.
I think Tim Walz is a great guy. I think he's probably one of the best human beings walking the world. And like, you look at his career and everything he's done, but like, he was a reservist and a congressman and a school administrator, and he kind of runs his leadership like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a school administrator. It's like the, you know, like the famous phrase from, you know, The Godfather. It's like, you need a wartime concierge. You need a wartime leader. You need, like, my thing was like, you know, it's like, okay, ICE is on the ground. I'm the governor of Minnesota. I'm heading to Minneapolis. I'm doing a mobile command center. Right. And I'm gonna have cameras and media, and I'm showing up to every single protest.
Right, exactly.
You know,
and I'm demanding that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries come fucking stand on the front lines with me in Minneapolis, right?
Yes.
Come taste some tear gas, Chuck. And
where is my party? Where are the senators? Where are the House reps?
Why is that not happening? Why?
I think I think he's in. I don't want to say in over his head. I think that. This is going to sound very woo. I think he's a leader with so much heart that this has just rattled him, and he's come across, at least to me, as too timid or gun shy, because this isn't what he signed up for. He's the governor of the state. He's not running a country.
Right. Yeah. I think we're seeing kind of the limits of Tim Walz, right? Like, which is, we liked him as a potential VP candidate, but what we're seeing is that he was not ready for the job, and you know,
I don't think anybody is currently. Yeah. I mean, I think,
but you would
I don't think anyone is.
Frederic.
However, I would argue that of all the people who have ever run for president, Hillary Clinton actually had sort of the, hey, they're going to punch you in the face, you know, training that would have been necessary in this current era, right? And maybe Kamala had that too, of, you know. You're not getting.
Absolutely, she'd be there in her Converse and her pearls and her blazer.
You know, like,
be like, you coming for me? I'm standing with my people.
I think you like the moment. I mean, think about the moment we're in, just like for a second, you know, in our lifetime, and see what we've like. You have concentration camps in this country. We've had them during World War II, but like not in our lifetime, you know. And you have out and out fascism where masked secret police are executing American citizens in Minneapolis. They're, you know, of all places. Mm-hmm. There's been so many norms shattered. And I think what you have is you have this elite class of politicians that has basically known, well, I take corporate money, and then every once in a while when the peasants kick up, the plebs kick up, I give them a little bit, and it's more for stability. We're just doing, but Donald Trump isn't a stabilizing figure, and the people behind him, they don't want stability. They want fascism. They want Christian nationalism, and they are absolutely willing to tear things down. So the opposition in this moment has to be in an uncomfortable place, an unfamiliar place, and take risks and risk their office, their livelihood, their backers, their personal freedom, even their lives. I mean, you hear people on the ground in Minnesota the reason they're not backing down, one was quoted as saying, you know, we've got to stand up now or it's just going to get worse, even if it costs us our lives. Like, that's the mentality people in Minneapolis are having. Like, and I mean, it's come out. Alex Pretty was defending his neighbor and broke a rib. He had a broken rib when he was killed, and he was still out there.
Broken by ice.
Broken by ice the week before.
The week before.
And they don't know if he was targeted, like somebody recognized, like, so there's that floating around. It's like, oh, did they recognize him? And that's why they decided to make an example of him. And like, these are the conversations we're having. And the problem I had with Tim Waltz was like, when you go on TV or you ask your constituents who are being murdered and brutalized, hey, just stay peaceful. That's not enough anymore, man. No. We're not at this place where, well, you know, like we're it's going through the courts and we're trying to get rid of DOMA, and you know, like it's like no, man. People are being murdered. They're being executed. And they're counting the bullet holes and leaving them on the sidewalk. We're past the point of, hey guys, just try to be peaceful while we, you know, take 3 years to go through the courts and maybe get it up to a corrupt Supreme Court.
Right.
We're past that point. Like, we need you to go, like, we need Democrats to start saying, we need to arrest Clarence Thomas for corruption. We need to arrest Brett Kavanaugh.
Right.
That's the
not
language
just impeached, but actually arrested and tried.
Right.
I just want to point out, as a fun new hobby, I've started monitoring our comments on YouTube, because we're, you know, simulcasting on YouTube. Somebody on YouTube just said, I'm sure a fucking troll, he said, I just popped a perky Charlie Kirky. So I just wrote back and I said, so your jugular vein exploded?
I'll tell you what, Lawrence, I was going to go with, boy, that guy sounds like a pain in the neck.
Can you just, Lawrence, can you repeat the comment, but in a vocoder voice? I heard it, but I didn't quite parse it.
I just popped a perky Charlie Kirky.
What does that mean?
So your jugular vein exploded?
Yeah. What is commenter? First of all, thanks for watching.
Right, we've actually got 38 people on YouTube right now. I think they're all trolls, except for Yanni, who our beloved friend, who is watching on YouTube and being a champ over here in the comments on YouTube.
I would like to say,
what does it mean to pop a?
You're trying to suss out
perky Charlie Kirky.
Right. Literally, like that's like 4chan language. Like, they've got their own fucking meme upon meme recursive. If you were not there at the inception, literally for inception, you don't get it.
I'm Googling it.
I wouldn't try to understand. I wouldn't try to understand, understand incel speak. You know, he's probably talking about Percocet, and he's probably never done Percocet. You know, like, it's like these guys that, you know, we had one, I was in the intelligent masculinity conversation yesterday with Nick Paro and Banner and Backbone, and somebody popped up with the name Commander Cool, who, you know, said World War II was the fault of the Jews. It's like, oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. Talk about blaming the victims. Okay.
Yeah, right. And so, and of course, Commander Cool said, you know, monogamy is not natural to men. You know, I have to spread my seed. I was like, buddy, unless you're talking about a sock in your mom's basement, you're not spreading your seed anywhere. Stop it.
Are you Johnny Appleseed? Come on. So perky Charlie Kirky, or Charlie Kirky pop.
Someone in the comments over here is saying it's code for Percocet, which, okay,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it's a perk. You know,
it's a viral internet meme and song snippets from late 2025.
You were giving this so much more validation than it deserves.
Well, because I want to know if we're being insulted or if we're being commended, or if it's just something whacked. Satire. The songs often lead into the absurdity of the political commentary's public persona, sometimes referencing his South Park depiction, which he had previously called a badge of honor. Okay. Anyhow, welcome.
Honestly, you can't go down that like 4chan crazy train
don't.
rabbit hole, or you will literally lose sanity. Like, you will lose touch with reality.
I could care less what they say because they're all anonymous. They never show their face.
Right.
I have way more courage. We all three have way more courage than these pathetic losers who may or may not be bots.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know.
they sit around like in a fucking circle jerk eating each other's boogers, you know? Like that's basically the internet version of what they're doing.
Right, yeah, I
Or
mean,
maybe
it's
literally.
I'm going to
like
Facebook
and the
Live
reason
now
they eat each
too.
other's boogers is they're too afraid to admit that they have inclinations to eat each other's asses. It's like,
Right.
dude, look, that's fine. I mean, if listen, there's dirty talk with Lawrence and Fusen. They'll teach you how, like, just accept who you are, brother. Come over to the leftist side. We'll accept you.
Right.
That's it. You ain't got to be angry no more. You know.
I gotta say, Fusen and I we're gonna reincarnate Dirty Talk one of these days. It's gonna be monthly instead of weekly, and we're gonna do it probably starting in March. We're both really busy, and we
So
want
you're
to
gonna
do it
say,
again.
are you gonna call it the monthlies?
Maybe. Dirty Talk : the monthlies.
I mean, I don't know. I would, but then I'm
Frederic, I do want to, so since we're talking about these sort of like basement dwelling,
Chuds.
basement dwelling, yeah, just incel garbage, masculine, blah blah
oh
blah.
god. Yeah.
What I would love to talk to you more about your work promoting positive masculinity, because I know you and Lawrence have both been on with Nick Perro talking about
Yeah.
this. I see what, and I know Eric Lolov's been doing it, and other men. Like, I want you to know, first of all, as the feminist killjoy that I am, that I so appreciate the work you guys are doing, because you are swimming upstream in a world where there's very little positive masculinity on the internet, and the world needs to see kind, bright, smart, masculine men like you showing up and being like, quit being a dick. Like, they're not going to listen to me. They're going to listen
Well,
to you.
I
Men are
want to
going
say,
to listen to you.
I want to say real quick, like, you were like the furthest thing from a killjoy. Like,
I'm
you were
very
one of the
tongue-in-cheek
nicest
with that
people
name.
I've ever met.
Oh,
It's like every time I get on, like, I'm firing, like, I'm like, let's go out and hit him in the mouth, blah blah blah. And Dana's like, I just want to try to understand these people so we can maybe let them into the light and love that is all of being humanness.
oh my God. Lawrence can attest that that's not all me.
Did you want that? Is because once you had a negative thought about a barista at like a Starbucks? Is that what it was?
No, Dana's.
Probably not.
I've seen Dana's vengeful side.
I am feisty. I am feisty and assertive, we'll say. Assertive. But watching what's playing out in Minneapolis, even, and the tragic murder of Alex Preedy, like,
Yeah.
that was positive masculinity, but it was also hyper masculine. That's what's so, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a tragedy if you can step like back from the obvious, like, it was
Yeah.
a tragedy, and just say, like, here was a man who was, bearded, big guy, carrying a gun, 2A forward, but also his livelihood was being a caregiver. He's a
Mhm.
nurse. And he died trying to help a woman up. He was
Yeah.
filming to protect his neighbors and to defend democracy. And in the end, the very simple act of just trying to help a woman who was being bullied by ICE
Right.
was his undoing. And so you have this very masculine but positive masculinity man who was murdered by kind of the worst of masculinity. These
Right.
Yeah.
very scared man boys who think they're playing Call of Duty.
Right.
Yeah.
They literally think they're playing Call of Duty. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the video, Frederic? I assume that you have, of the I'm
No,
forgetting the creator's name.
I was on, it was in Orlando, and actually, like, I got people were sending me texts, like, because I was like, all right, I'm going to this film festival, I'm meeting other creatives, like, I was gonna have a weekend sort of detox.
Yeah.
And I was getting sent the video, and A buddy, like my business partner and friend, he watched it, and he's former Philadelphia SWAT. And I said, "Yeah, man, they're just a bunch of cowboys." And the thing he said to me was really telling. He says, "No, no, 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 no. I've worked with cowboys. I've worked with operators. I've worked with hard drinking
Mhm.
dudes that had bad marriages and slews of women and all this other stuff. Everything you could think about with a cowboy. These guys are cowards. They're not cowboys.
Yeah.
They're cowards." And the problem, one of the things that you have in masculinity today is the right and the manosphere has convinced the young men that in their weakness, in their fear, in their lack of understanding, in their insecurity, that they can take that and it is permissible
Right.
to lash out and abuse and oppress women, LGBTQ folks, trans folks, like whoever. And that box keeps getting smaller and smaller because if you look at any manosphere content, what is it? Oh, you can't eat a hot dog. You can't eat banana. That's a gay thing. Or like
can't
literally
eat a
I've
hot
seen
dog,
videos
really?
where if you have a roller bag, and you drop it, you have to squat down at the knees. You can't just bend over because that's gay. And then someone ups it and goes, "Well, if you have a roller bag, that's gay. Only women use roller bags. You got to carry it." And
You know what it
or you
reminds
can't
me of? Honestly,
Yeah.
there was, here, time travel with me in the very late 90s, very early 2000s on the internet, right? All the gay dudes were finding each other on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was this really weird toxic masculinity moment in online queer culture. There was literally a website that was set up that I don't remember what it was called, but it was basically like straightacting.com, and you went through and took a quiz and you got a score, and depending
Wow.
on how low your score was, that was how straight, like you wanted to be a 0, like to have no gay traits whatsoever, which meant you couldn't have a candle in your house. You couldn't own a Barbara Streisand album or ever have listened to any of her songs. You couldn't, it was seriously the most toxic fucking bullshit. And there were a bunch of gay dudes who went through and they were like, I'm a straight acting 0 or what, and it was like, fuck you, bros. And that's what straight masculinity is going through right now. They're literally
No, it is.
recreating that gay website to make
my
sure that they
God.
are the most straight acting people they can possibly be.
It's funny. I had
Yeah.
so I did a politics and social media panel back in 2012. Bob Seska was on it. Vanessa Valenti, Jessica Valenti's sister, and
Nice.
we were
Bob's
talking.
gonna be on our show next week.
Bob Seska.
Wait, am I right about that? Yeah. Hold
Oh
on.
wow, you got Seska. I've been friends with him for like, my God, it's going on 20 years now. So
Yep.
but I love Bob, and it was interesting because like part of what we had a conversation. I had with the women's group at ETSU, and Vanessa Valenti led it, which she did feministing at that time, a blog called Feministing.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And one of the things she talked about sort of like what popular culture does to women, right? Back then it was the size 0, pants and
Right.
That all that kind of like where it objectifies women and putting it into that place. And I made the argument. I said, I think metrosexual culture and gym culture is heading to the same place, that they're taking this, where it's like, oh, you've got to be pretty, and oh, you got to be tan, oh, you got to be buff, and you got to do this. And now look where we are, where you're starting to see young men that are taking, what they call gear, which is steroids, and trend, which is even worse.
Right.
And it's prematurely aging them, right? You're seeing men that are like young men that are 26 and they look like they're 36 because gear is really hard on the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it ages you, it enlarges organs and everything else. And why are they doing it? For this aesthetic of like, oh, look how jacked I am, bro, and oh, I'm super powerful. And it's like, but one thing you never hear on Manosphere is like, hey man, have you read this book? Have you read this book? Like, here's the reading list that you should go through. And like I told Nick Perro, I was like, even when I was in the Marine Corps, the commandant had a reading list. I read a bunch of books when I was in the Marine Corps that the commandant recommended. You know, I read Starship Troopers, Rifleman Dodd, and I got into I got into some other I wish I could find that reading list, but like I was 19 years old and I'm reading, you know, because it's like, oh well, the commandant says we should read these books, and they had them for what rank you were, right?
Right. Those
And
are called mentors.
Right.
Young men need mentors.
Right.
And it blows me away where, you know, it's you guys are afraid of feminism, but you never read a feminist piece of literature. Right?
Right.
Like, you know, you're afraid
that
of
would be
socialism.
gay, Frederic. That would be very gay.
But that's, I mean, the thing is like,
doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to.
Right. But that's the thing is all you got, you're just like, I look at you guys and you're just a bunch of scared little boys trying to peacock and posture.
Yep.
You know, but you're not doing anything to resolve that fear. Right. You're not doing anything. And again, because they've convinced you, because they're all sociopathic assholes, that, oh, well, I don't know anything to anybody. I can just do, you know, the world is whatever I want. I can demand this and it's whatever I feel and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what happened to acts of service as masculinity? That's what Alex Pretty like exemplified.
Right.
Right.
Right. That's
Are you
literally
serving
what he
your
was
community?
living.
Are you serving your family, your loved ones? Oh, I want a wife, but you like, you know, the thing I pointed out yesterday was, oh, I'm there to protect, you know, in case we're invaded, you know, like they want to harm my wife and I'll lay down my life. Yeah, you'll lay down your life for your wife, but you won't do the dishes.
Right.
You won't listen to her when she has like
you won't let her vote.
Yeah, you don't want her to vote. Like you won't listen to her when she has something like she needs to talk to you about and have a hard conversation on, you know, picking up your socks. Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
How often in life does one need to lay down one's life for someone versus the day-to-day,
right,
how you make their lives better?
Right.
The people
Right.
around
You can promise to lay down your life for somebody, but until that moment where it actually happens, you don't know if they're going to do that, if you're capable of doing that. You know, I know we're coming up on the top of the hour, and I want to tell, I've been haunted by this thought, right? And part of me wonders, like, I can't stop thinking about if Alex Pretty had a partner. Like, he's 37.
We haven't heard anything.
We don't know.
Sorry,
we don't know if he's straight or gay, right? And I mean, full confession, I think he's cute as fuck. Like, you know,
Me
like
too.
it breaks my heart even harder because he's exactly the kind of like tall, dorky guy that I like. And it makes me really sad to think that if he has a partner, I mean, I want him to have been loved, right? I want him to have been cherished by somebody. And then it makes me think, oh my God, that person is in such pain right now.
Yeah.
Having lost such a good man, right? And it really, you know, me being me, it went even further. And I thought, you know, like I kind of, I don't know, my gaydar kind of sort of maybe goes off with him. And I'm like, I hope he was out.
Well, he was married to a woman.
If he had a partner, you know, like, and they weren't out, that person is in such extreme pain right now, suffering a loss alone and not able to tell anybody about it. And so, you know, I mean, obviously my own shit is going on up in my head, right? I'm projecting a lot of things here. I fully admit that.
Yeah.
But also, like, I want that man to have been loved well. And if he was, it makes me unbelievably sad for the person who got left behind. I mean, not that I want them to go with. I just want Alex to not be gone.
Yeah.
I think he was, man.
He was definitely loved by, I've seen notes from his sister, from his parents, from the nurses, the nursing students he mentored. I mean, he was a beloved member of his community. Quick Google search. It's from people.com, so it's probably accurate. He was formerly married, his ex-wife, who didn't want to share her name publicly, hasn't spoken since they divorced more than 2 years ago, and she moved out of Minnesota. So maybe Lawrence, I'm just going to go with your fantasy and say because of his
It's
partner at home, who can't speak up because it will do harm reputationally to his memory.
it's interesting kind of where we go with these narratives, because and this, as a historian, this kind of stuff fascinates me, where
Right.
I as a veteran, former Marine, I look at this as a stoic, right? Like, a big thing is, part of what you're doing in life is training, right? You're training yourself morally, mentally. Like, how are you going to respond in a situation? Like, the thing when we were in the military is like, when a crisis hits, you're going to fall back on your highest level of training. And if that's nothing, it's nothing, right? That's why I don't have any really respect for these keyboard warriors that want to sit around and say, oh, I'd do this. No, you wouldn't. You absolutely wouldn't. And I look at Alex Preedy and, the images I saw, the like little flashes of clips, and it's like, you look at how he lived his life on a daily basis and what he did. And when fate met him, he still upheld, like, even the most horrible circumstances.
Yeah.
He met fate as a principled man. As tragic as his death is, as evil as it was, he was helping a woman up, protecting her, and putting himself in harm's way.
Yeah.
And
he never stopped being who he was.
Not up to the end. Even when faced with, like, and so I look at that and I say, man, there's hope for America, because there's people like Alex Preedy and Renee Good, and these people that are in it.
Right.
And that is what the fascists can't take away. That's what, they have to lie, because they have to make you think that everybody's crappy, and so you might as well vote for a strong, crappy people.
Right. Everybody's crappy, and so everyone should have a gun at all times.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's Alex Preedy's in the world, and there's Renee Good. I'm not mad at you, man.
Yeah.
And
I'm not mad at you, man.
Yeah.
The chat has been wonderful today. I have been reading along. I haven't made any
Our
comments.
Substack chat has been wonderful.
Our Substack chat, right? YouTube, we're working on it. But Kenny, I just want to read your comment. He said, I think this is one of the most compassionate and empathetic groups on Substack, and it's refreshing. And thank you. It's really, really, like, I can't even tell you how much that means to us to hear you say that. And Jeannie, I see here, it's not the critic, this is a quote, it's not the critic who counts, the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails.
Old Teddy.
Right. Well, and then the second half of that is a couple posts down, while daring greatly, which is the piece of that everyone remembers.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm compassionate, it's because I got friends like you, and I'm able to talk to you guys, and you guys set the example. So,
Oh shucks, Fred.
Oh, Frederic.
Yeah.
You were like one of our very first Substack friends.
Right. First and favorite. I mean, don't tell all the others.
Well, I love it. You guys let me come back on, even if I step on you or I get a little wild and aggressive. It's like,
that's why we bring you on. Are you
kidding?
That's
why you're here.
Everyone, come watch the monkey dance.
Oh my God.
I guess dancing bear would be better than dancing monkey.
We always need our big coffee. And I am going to need to drop because I need to get my daughter to school before her big final. So it's been so wonderful catching up with you, Frederic. It'd been too long. Like, I think
it's been way too long, Frederic.
It's been a minute. We'll have to do it again soon. Anytime you need me to come on, hit me up for sure.
Yeah. So Dana, so we'll say this again because it's up and coming news. We're going to kind of change up the show a little bit so that on Thursdays, I'm going to take the day off and Dana is going to do like a feminist focus,
My
and
feminist
have on
killjoy
different
hour.
guests.
Yeah.
And on Mondays, Dana's going to take the day off, and I'm going to mostly do like a queer focus. But I mean, that don't mean our allies can't be there too.
It's
So
true.
I'll have you back. I'll have you
Well,
back.
if you're doing a feminist show, you got to have a man on. I mean,
Yeah.
to kind of
1,000%.
Right, to tell you what to think.
Absolutely.
I just want to. Well, as a male feminist, and I want
Yeah, we'll need a male perspective on feminism for every episode. Point counterpoint 6-7.
Right.
We're
Right.
gonna just
Yeah,
do
it's got to
that.
be fair and balanced.
It does always fair and balanced. So, yeah, we haven't figured out a start date yet. We've got Bob Seska on Monday, so we're not
So
starting
not
next
that
Monday,
one.
but maybe the Monday after that. We're talking later today. We'll figure this all out, guys. But
dig it.
we are moving in that direction, and yeah, we're gonna be doing that.
Love it.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned,
I love
Frederic. In all seriousness, I could see how you being on that show, on a feminist show, for part of it, because
Oh yeah, bring me on. I'll talk
feminism
about
exists with allies like you. Maybe not the first few. We're gonna get very,
Yeah, whenever you
we're
need
gonna
me.
get in it.
You know,
Oh, thanks, Frederic.
whenever you need me.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah.
It has been a pleasure. Thanks to all of you in the chat here on Substack, and thanks to most of you in the chat on YouTube.
On YouTube. Right. Thanks to that guy Bill who discovered us on YouTube and apparently likes us.
Yay, Bill! Yay! We
Yay, Bill.
Multi-channel. And we will see you all tomorrow
Tomorrow.
and the next day and every weekday at 10
Right.
a.m. Eastern on the Daily Whatever Show. Mwah, we love you, mean it.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Frederic. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.